Great. Nice to meet you all. I know we're having this meeting for medical education, so Dr. Robertson, Dr. Roberts, and Dr. Wright have joined us today. First, I'm just going to share my screen and I'll get to my PowerPoint. Super. Can everybody see that we're recording? And I am screen sharing. You can all see that. I'm going to open my chat, so I want you guys to open your chat too, so you'll have that in our meeting here today. And then let me see if I can just get started, and I'll get our PowerPoint started. So what I'd like you to do is click on annotation at the top of the screen. Make sure you're all able to see that, and exit the full screen so you can see all the participants and you'll be able to chat. And make sure that your microphones worked, and they did because we introduced each other. And then click the correct camera to make sure we're all set. Everybody can hear me. So eliminate any distractions, turn off your cell phone, we'll close the doors, take a deep breath, and I've got my water just in case I need that. All right, quality check. Make sure we fix any problems before we proceed. So the objectives today for this meeting is to learn collaboratively and think critically together. Our group will consider the types of learning in Chapter 4, and then we'll put all this together as a group project. So, learning collaboratively. Can our medical educators today change from thinking alone to thinking together? Are we able to do that? So, Henry Ford did say, coming together is a beginning, staying together is progress, and working together is success. So learning and thinking, how much more can we accomplish then by working together and managing our issues? So you know, in surgery, do we perform surgery by just one person? No. And so in my life, we have multiple people that are involved in a surgery. We, of course, are going to have the surgeon, we're going to have the anesthesia provider, the nurse in the room, the nurse passing equipment, and then we need an assistant as well. And so medical care of a patient is definitely a team sport. So teaching and learning also is a team sport. And as we work together today, I want you to think about how you do team sports in your line of work. So in your work, if you go to your chat, what is your team sport in your life? Great, Chuck. Dr. Wright says class critique. Dr. Robinson says training. And Dr. Roberts says mentoring. I love those. Those are wonderful. So let's talk about the different types of learning that our students can have. Information then for distance learning is sent to the student who will work to learn independently, usually at home. In the 20th century, books and information was sent in the mail to complete by one person. And now in the 21st century, we're sending online learning information to the student to learn by themselves. Our campus-based education, the second type, is education from a lecture or a discussion in person. And these campus-based education things, of course, were the normal type of learning until COVID-19. And then universities were then forced to change the education of their students to more online or together. And so online learning then, we're going to learn via courses, reading, working via computerized courses from an instructor. Blended learning then puts this together. Education from a teacher online and in person using different techniques than just lecturing so that we're working together. Active learning then helps with cognitive engagement, and then it increases active learning and thereby long-term retention. And that's what we're going to work on for our project today. So we just used a bunch of words in our chat, and I'd like you to go in and put words that you might have seen us use that I just went through the slides. What do you remember that we just talked about? Great. Thanks, everybody. So, what words were memorable? Why? If you think in your mind, what words do you remember and why? So we're going to use these different types of education. We're going to talk about what we liked and might not have liked, and we're going to go to our Google Doc. And so here in the chat, I just put in the Google Doc that I'd like you all to go to. And in the Google Doc, we're going to do some together education. Great. And if you go up to the top to annotate, and if you would, can you see my slide? Increasing long-term learning. Let's think about those positives and negatives with the educational options we discussed in our Google Doc. So if you just want to put some words and go ahead and annotate. You guys able to see that? Great. Go ahead and annotate in my slideshow. Increased engagement. Love it. Distance learning. Wonderful. Great. And so when we go to our next slide, so the positives and negatives about what we saw in 2 minutes, we're going to talk about all the types of education that we could do, the campus, the online, the blending. And now let's do the poll. So if I take this poll and have you guys just tell me what is the best way for you to learn, you can just choose your answer. If I was to ask you that, what would you see? Super. This is a great result. And as I share this, everybody thought different ways for them to learn, which I think is just really impressive, what we found. So we're going to work better together is the basis of sharing this information, knowledge, and resources to accomplish our goal together. And working collaboratively allows us to know more than we are capable of knowing by ourselves, says Paul Solars. So as we're teachers, then we should be able to work collaboratively together and solve a problem. So the task we're going to do here at the end then, almost done, is adult learners are going to be able to solve a problem together. So here's our problem. Everybody engage. We have this medical school faculty and we're going to teach drug addiction in pregnancy to medical students. So if you guys could all go in your chat and give me some ideas on what we can do to help teach this module. Ideas about how we can teach something to someone. A case study. Medical students love case studies. The life of the baby and the effects and work backwards as to why. I like it. And then I'm into class participation. I think anybody participating in the class is really good. Super. So how do we integrate these ideas and help them into long-term learning for the students? We'll work together because medicine is definitely a team sport. Our education, words, our types of education, and our long-term retention is so important. Any questions at all? You can unmute and give me any questions you might have. Super. So if you can go up and annotate up to the top and tell me about what you felt about learning 1 to 5 and appreciating the information, and what did you think about the interaction for this education? Great. Super. Well, thanks guys so much for your participation. I appreciate it. We'll see you at another class.